Okay. Hello everyone. Okay, so before you all get mad at me for not uploading in 3 months, not doing Tommy's unbeatable method of avoiding sudden death, and reading Rooftops yet, a lot has been going on right now. But because it's been 3 months, I figured I'd read a short story of Treebros. It's a ship from Dear Evan Hansen. It's called Misguided Ghosts. It's only like 12 chapters long or 11. So of course, I'm trying, but a lot has happened in my life. And I've been very busy. I stopped reading Wattpad during those months, and then I've gotten back into reading Wattpad. So, I will be reading one of those yet. I gotta read them first because I'm unsure, but Rooftops might have a little bit of smut in it and might have a lot of trigger warnings. So I do have to read them both first. And I don't even know, everything's very difficult right now. But yeah, I gotta read them both. Which will take a long while. But again, I'm gonna real quickly before we get into the story list off what I will read. I'll read Minecraft YouTube, Harry Potter, FNAF, musicals. I will read X readers. And it really depends on the fandom and who it is. As you can tell, I do read a lot of shits. You can just tell by looking at my page. So yeah, I read a lot of that. So, yeah. So main things I will read. I am gonna say I'm not gonna read many anime stories because I'm very afraid that I pronounce a lot of the names wrong. I don't know much about that sort of area. And all that. It's very difficult, I guess. So yeah. If you want, because I know, Flowers from 1970 was really bad quality, horrible. I understand how bad it is. If you want me to, redo that, I will redo it. It'll just take probably a little bit again. Yeah, so let's get into it. Chapter 1. Is it weird to be the first person in history to break their arm from jacking off too much, or do you consider that an honor? Jared said to Evan as he leans against the walls of a locker. Evan's face flushes as he begins to panic. Wait, what? I wasn't doing that. Evan replies, his words becoming shaky with stutters. Paint me a picture. You're in your bedroom, you've got Zoe Murphy's Instagram pulled up off your weird off-brand cell phone, and you... No, that's obviously not what happened. I was climbing a tree. Evan pauses a bit to see bored and disappointed looking face on Jared's face. I was climbing a tree and I fell. Yeah, anxious boy tried to explain himself. You fell out of a tree? Jared scoffs. What are you, an acorn? Well, I was, but I don't know if you knew this, but I worked this summer as a park ranger for Ellison State Park. I'm sort of a tree expert now. Not to brag. Ivan held himself with a sort of fake confidence, but when he was greeted with nothing but silence from Jared, his facade began to falter as he rambled. I climbed this 40 foot tall oak tree and I fell. But the funny thing is, after I fell, there was a solid 10 minutes after when I was just laying there on the ground waiting for someone to come get me. I kept telling myself that someone will come. Evan told the story of a happy voice, but it didn't fit the experience. But once he noticed he couldn't correct himself, Jared just raised an eyebrow. Did they? No, that's why it's funny. That's what makes it funny. Evan looked to the ground and nervously wiped his hands on his pants. As the awkward silence prevailed, Evan broke the silence with misplaced and short chuckles as he thought of what to say. Jared kept giving disapproving glances to Evan as he attempted to stand tall as he talked. So, how was your summer? Evan finally gets out. Jared shrugs. Well, my team dominated, captured the flag, and speaking of how I got to second base below the brawl with some chick from Israel, who's supposed to be in the army or something. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question, Jared explained nonchalantly and turning to walk off. Evan didn't know how to respond, and the air felt too tense when he opened his mouth to ask Jared to sign his cast, but he couldn't since he was interrupted by Jared's loud voice. Evan looked up to see Connor Murphy walk past with a grimace upon his face. Hey, Hot Topic, I like the new hair length. Very school shooter chick. Jared laughed triumphantly, but once he noticed Connor's hateful glare, his cockiness withers away. I was joking. It was a joke. I know, Jared. It was funny. I'm laughing. Can you not tell? Connor says blankly, although the sarcasm was clear through his words. Jared's confidence vanished and he grew nervous. You're such a freak, Jared yells, and indignantly, and as he runs off. Connor looked toward Jared had exited. Evan kept a fixed glance on Connor's face. He could see that the hurt was hidden behind Connor's fierce expression. Evan gripped his shirt and shuffled. He felt something in the pit of his stomach, and for some reason, seeing Connor hurt affected him. Voluntarily, he chuckled nervously to lighten the mood. What the fuck are you laughing at? Connor pivots with anger, tears pricking the corner of his eyes. Evan started to fear Evan feared with fear and sadness. Oh my god. Evan stared with fear and sadness, but he was too nervous to say the words he wanted to say. Stop laughing at me. I'm not a freak. You're the freak. Connor's heightened emotions made Evan freeze. He didn't even realize that Connor had shoved him until he felt the cold tile slam against his back. Nervous boy watched as Connor left, but for some reason a pit in his stomach has formed. Evan tried to think about the feeling, but a hand on his shoulder disrupted his thoughts. Hey, I saw my brother push you. I'm so sorry. He's a psychopath. The voice of Zoe Murphy hit Evan's ears, but something inside him caused the boy to rush up and sprint down the hall in Connor's direction. The action left Zoe Murphy stunned. Evan runs, but once he's out of breath, he realizes that he doesn't know where Connor went, and he just stood there in the middle of the hallway just thinking. What is this? Evan says as he grips his shirt. It's different. Sound of the bell causes Evan to jump, and he rushes to class, the strange feeling still consuming his mind. Chapter 2. Evan sat down in his first period class and kept to himself. He even risked looking like a loser by sitting at the desk in the corner. The teacher familiarized herself with the students, and a practically loud girl who sat at the desk beside Evan ripped him from his thoughts again. Oh, hey, you're Evan, right? She pauses, but not long enough for Evan to answer. I'm Elena Beck. You probably know that since I talked to you earlier. The girl rambs without purpose. So Evan just tuned her out. He was currently too busy thinking. He just seemed so hurt, but he looked that way before. Did I just not notice it? My stomach feels strange when I think about it, and I really want to talk to him. It's just Connor, though. Evan sighs once he decides that there is no solution to his enigma. Connor Murphy, Elena inquisitively asked. Evan jumped in surprise, then began to sweat profusely. I said that out loud. He suddenly curled up and avoided eye contact. Elena didn't notice his nerves. Yes, you did. You mean Connor Murphy? I heard he's gay. There's nothing wrong with that. He might be. We're acquaintances. I know him, and from what I've seen, I think he may be a homosexual. And Elena looked to Evan for a response, but he was just so lost with the direction this conversation was going. I just wanted to find what his classes are and apologize. Evan sighed to himself. He wanted to go home at this point, but he had to talk to Connor before school let out. Still, Evan couldn't figure out why he wanted to talk to him so badly. He has all honor classes if that helps. I looked at his schedule this morning, Lane said with an accomplished smile. Evan pursed his lips and nodded. His head is at her words. Maybe, just maybe, they have a class together. It was time for third period, and Evan's mind had been so occupied with thoughts of Connor that he can't remember the name of his teachers without looking crumpled schedule in his hand. He had Zoe in his second period, which would be but for some reason, a feeling in Evan's stomach dominated his whole emotions. It screwed up his whole mindset, but hopefully once it was gone, Evan could admire Zoe from afar again. The thought didn't seem as good as it should have been. Evan absent-mindedly enters the science lab and sees Connor sitting in the back corner. Evan's throat swells with emotions, and he finds himself approaching Connor's desk. Oh no! If I sit next to him, he'll think I'm following him or I'm a creep. But it would be weird if I get close to his desk and just sit close to him in this empty classroom. Am I doomed? Evan's anxiety only heightened once he realized that he sat next to Connor at the same desk. Shit. Connor looks to Evan with the same empty expression he usually has, but to Evan, the bags under his eyes seemed more apparent, and so did the curls in his dark brown hair. The boy in the polo just smiles awkwardly, although he should have many questions to ask, as well as figure out some things. Connor slightly chuckles as he rests his cheek on his hand. Evan felt the feeling grow more intense, so he suddenly gripped the hem of his shirt and stayed silent. When students started entering, Evan remembered where he was intense. He was hoping Connor was still looking, so that he could still hopefully have a chance to talk to him. Then Evan saw Jared enter and try to completely disappear. If Jared noticed he was here, this could quickly become hell for everyone. Hey, Acorn. Don't think I didn't see you in third period. Evan shut his locker with a reluctant sigh as Jared quickly approached. Jared, I didn't... Were you in that class? Evan faked his ignorance. You sat next to Connor on purpose, didn't you? The boy smirked. Boy pushed up his glasses slightly and smirked. So you're in love with the other Murphy now, huh? What? No, I just wanted to apologize to Connor for laughing at him this morning. Evan says nervously, as he nervously fidgets. He really wanted to leave this conversation. Connor deserves to be laughed at, dumbnut. He threw a printer off a teacher, remember. Jared replies with an eye roll. The kid is batshit crazy. I don't think so, Evan forced out. Oh my god, you're so gay. Jared lightly shoved Evan and leaves the anxious boy alone in the hall, with a dejected sigh as he walks off in the opposite direction. Evan sat in the computer lab after school had finished. He definitely felt unaccomplished, to say the least. Definitely disappointed in himself. He begins to type. Dear Evan Hansen, this was an amazing day. This isn't going to be an amazing week or year. Why would it be? Well, there is this weird feeling in my stomach, and I don't know how it makes me feel or what it even is, but maybe it'll fix everything or not. I wish I wasn't nervous when it came to talking to people, or else things would be different. They'd be fixed, but I know that if I can talk to Evan paused, his hands frozen on the keys. If he wrote Connor, what would his mother say, or his therapist? Would his therapist think he had feelings for Connor? Would he tell his mother? Evan took a deep breath and continued to type. But I know that if I can talk to Zoe, everything will be alright. Sincerely, your best friend, me. Evan sighed and clicked the button that would print the letter. He reluctantly stood up to go retrieve his paper, but he kept his head down and he bumped into someone. Sorry, he whispered. When he glanced up, he noticed Connor standing there with a paper in his hand. Connor? Huh? Oh, don't worry about it. Connor says with a shrug, then looks at Evan as if waiting for a response. I wanted to talk to you, but, I have to leave for something soon, so he rumbled on. Connor just raised an eyebrow and took out his phone, handing it to Evan. Then just put your number in my phone and tell me later. Even if you don't, my parents will think I have friends. Tall brunette explained. Oh, okay. Evan slowly took the phone with his uninjured hand and began to type until he felt something grab his upper arm. No one's signed your cast yet? Connor inquired. Evan shakes his head. Connor reached into his pocket to pull out a Sharpie, then proceeded to write his name in big capital letters across Evan's cast. Oh, thanks? Evan responds with a slight grimace. Connor shrugs again as he takes his phone back. Oh, hey, I found this on the printer. It's yours, right? Dear Evan Hansen? That's your name, right? Connor asked with a slight tilt on the head. of the head. Evan just nodded and reached for a paper. It's some stupid assignment for something. Evan's hesitation gave Connor time to look down at the words Evan wrote. Connor's grip on the paper tightened. Evan held his breath as he felt fearful of what would come. The glance at the tall boy gave him triggered a fight or flight response in Evan, so he just ran off and left Connor with a note. That night, Evan laid in bed, his mind blank. This would have continued, but a buzz woke Evan from his trance. I still have your note, Ev. You never let me give it back. Evan held his breath once he realized it was from Connor. Ev? Do you not like the nickname? I do. It's just I didn't think I knew you enough for you to give me a nickname. Evan responds. He waits a few minutes and got no response, so he swallowed his pride and sent another text. Like your name though, Con. Still no response. Chapter 2. About 3 days passed, and Evan's happiness began to crash for no reason that would have bothered him before. He gets up and hesitantly gets dressed. As he got ready for school, he thought of excuses not to go. There wasn't much of a reason for him to go anyway. Connor, right, Evan has a friend. The only reason Evan turned up to school the past 2 days was solely because of Connor Murphy, Evan's new friend and the brother of his crush. As he played his cards right, he'd get closer to Zoe. So Evan made his way to school to enjoy the company of his one seemingly sincere friend. Evan sat in his seat for third period, waiting patiently for Connor Murphy to take a seat beside him. Evan pondered what to talk about with Connor. He's been ignoring his texts, but Connor can't ignore Evan at school. Evan's thoughts were shattered when he heard the shriek of the bell. No, Connor again. With a long face, Evan. Jared leans back in his chair and spoke. Your boyfriend isn't here, so you're sad? Stop, Jared. I'm not gay, and he's not my boyfriend. You know I like Zoe. Evan whispers her name so anyone who knew her couldn't tell her. Jared rolls his eyes in aggravation before he could retort a cackle from the ceiling interrupted. Evan Hansen, to the office, please. The voice of a middle-aged woman cut through the room. Evan's stomach dropped in horror. He hesitated as he gathered his possessions and exited the room. Why call me to the office? Evan panicked internally. He kept running thoughts of what he'd done bad or what he could have been accused of doing. His breath quickened as he nervously fidgeted with his hands. As he approached the door, he looked up to grasp the doorknob. He ran face first to a colored foot. What? Oh, sorry, dude, a chill voice answered as Evan backed away. He looked to see a tan boy in a red hoodie. He had a small smile on his face, undisturbed despite the glasses. It's fine, Evan answered. The boy then leaned against the wall, and Evan felt obligated to talk to him. Why are you here? He finally gets out. I've been enjoying the halls and thought it was mine. The boy shrugged. He looked down at Evan and noticed the many natural patches that littered the crimson hoodie. Why would they smell my hoodie? Oh, Evan responded after catching the stale aroma of cannabis that was on the hoodie. Yep, so I'm here for a drug test. No need to worry though. I'm clean right now. The boy confidently stated, by the way, I'm Michael Mel. Who are you? Evan Hansen? Evan answered, though it sounded like a question. Oof, you should head in there. There's some panic adults waiting for you, dude. Fuck. Okay, thank you, Michael. Evan awkwardly waved him off and headed inside. The staff in the office eyed Evan with pity, like he was a victim of some tragedy, and that horrified him. One lady pointed to the principal's office with a strong gulp, and Evan walked slowly to the room. The room was stiff in the atmosphere. Evan's standing awkwardly as he was standing in front of two unfamiliar adults. The male had a hidden frustration, while the woman was a wreck of tears. Oh, God. Where is, Mr. He stepped out, and who are you? The male's voice sounded deep and slightly intimidating, also like a trademark suburban dad. They called me to the office. I'm Evan. Can I leave now? The boy was itching to get out of the room, as his whole body trembled with sweat. Face of the adult turned with understanding. You're Evan Hansen? The woman asked shakily. Evan nodded hesitantly. The male looked lost in thought. Connor wanted you to have this. We didn't know Connor had friends, the male stated in disbelief. Woman handed Evan a crumpled sheet of paper. She and her husband proceeded to explain to Evan what was going on. Evan was so shaken that he didn't even open the paper in fear of what it was. It was made for you by Connor. He wanted you to have it, the lady politely explained while trying to hide her tears. We found it in his pocket, and while it was titled Dear Evan Hansen, and it seemed passionate, suddenly Evan was hit with realization. He hesitated as he opened the paper to see the letter he wrote himself. The adults analyzed Evan's confusion and shock. Sorry for the misunderstanding, but Evan started. You can keep the letter. You can keep his last words. Lady mutters with a shaky smile. He didn't. What last words? Evan felt tears in the corner of his eyes. The adults looked shocked and sad as they remembered the reality they lived in. Connor took his life. This note, they are his final thoughts. No one finished, but immediately after she broke down, her husband comforting her. Evan was stunned. He felt his world crumbling around him. His best friend, dead. Suicide. Evan felt like he was going to throw up. The acid rising in his throat, his eyes burning from the tears that ran to fall. There were so many tears. Holy shit. Jared's text to Evan seemed almost underwhelming. Connor Murphy is dead, Jared. I'm freaking out. Evan frantically texted him. He was bawling in his bed over the loss of Connor. Holy shit. Jared's emotions seemed more exaggerated in his change. Jared! I'm beginning to grow frustrated from the lack of help he was receiving. Dude, I can't believe they think you guys are friends. Jared's first serious statement was made, and Evan felt another lump as friends. You were, though, Evan practically asked. Connor and Evan were friends. Best friends, or so he thought. The fuck? No, you weren't. If you're talking about how you talked a few times that one day, that's just your gay ass being extra. Jared's internet dialect left. Evan confused. Jared's internet dialect left Evan confused. He tried to figure it out, but honestly, he was too emotionally damaged to take anything Jared said in any other way than how it was actually worded. What? You were overreacting. You and psychotic Connor Murphy were not friends. Your man crush just got out of control. Once Evan realized what Jared was saying, it clicked. Evan and Connor weren't best friends. Connor didn't care about Evan. Evan had no friends. If anything, Evan is why Connor took his life. Instead of replying, Evan just shut down his phone and crawled into his bed crying harder. Evan had no friend. Zoe was now further than ever. Poor Zoe. Evan couldn't figure out why he was crying so hard. If he and Connor weren't friends, why was he so torn up over his death? Connor lurched up and threw every pillow off the bed in frustration. Connor, what did I do to you? Evan sobbed harder. His crying continued until he's just making noise of his bare bed, barely covered by the blanket. Then someone clearing their throats startled Evan enough for him to look up, seeing the impossible. Hey, Ev. Chapter 3. The real question is what I did to you. The Connor Murphy spoke in a humorous tone. Evan couldn't help but stare in disbelief. Connor? His heart had reached a new speed for seemingly many reasons. I mean, you're crying. You hardly know me. Probably. Sorry. Anyways, how's life? Connor nonchalantly asked, his hand itching his neck to look calm. Life? You shouldn't have one. What the hell is going on? Evan hunched over and gripped his hair. I'm going crazy. What do I do? Why are you here? Whoa, Ev, calm down. You look like you're going to... Connor held his hands up in alarm. His eyes peeked at the orange prescription bottles. I didn't mean to almost trigger a panic attack, dude. I just wanted to see you. What? Ah, shit. Connor hid his blushing face in his hand. I'm a lonely ghost, Ev. That's all. Seeing your freak ass is what I needed. Evan looked at Connor and felt an involuntary smile begin to form. I have a friend. The sound of a notification from his computer sidetracked Evan, who grabbed the laptop and placed it on his lap. Lena was going to Twitter about Connor. That was somewhat expected. Minimizing Twitter, Evan saw Jerry's name on messaging notification inside. Who is it? Connor inquired, floating over the computer. Evan couldn't see through the mop of brown hair and tried blowing Connor away. He chuckled and just laid beside the shaking boy at the laptop, typing away to Jared. I still can't believe the only thing Connor's parents have left with their son is a sex letter to yourself. He visibly cringed, and he proceeded to hunch back into his slouch. He didn't respond. How could he, after Jared proudly complained that Evan and Connor weren't friends? And Lena tweeted, I hope that Connor is in all of our hearts. Is he bothering you? Connor pointed at the words with disgust in his voice. Evan bit his lip nervously and shook his head. Why am I lying to him? Elena tweeted, we weren't friends, but acquaintances. He was truly a kind boy. Your parents have my letter, the one you took. I think it was your suicide note, and they want me to come to dinner. Evan looked down and held his head dejectedly in his hands. It's a suicide note. Those are cliche. Why would they think I wrote one? Connor rambled on. He heard a snuffle from beside him and noticed Evan hadn't moved yet and he was shaking more. We weren't friends. What was I thinking? Elena tweeted, It's such a shame. His life was claimed by suicide. Connor convinced Evan to go to dinner, if not for his parents' sake, his own. It was an uncomfortable event that triggered his anxiety like nothing else. Fidgeting with his fork, the pale boy refused to make eye contact with anyone but Connor, who stood across the room with a dead look on his face. Do you not like the food, Evan? Cynthia, Connor's mother, asked with a look of concern. No, ma'am, it's wonderful. I'm just thinking. Of Connor? Yes, I miss him dearly. Evan spoke softly in short bursts, mumbling incoherent words before and after a sentence. The table was brought back to a state of heavy, uncomfortable silence. The only thing keeping Evan sane was Connor's soft eyes every time he would catch him staring. He could only get lost in that, lost like that forever. Why does it make it so flustered? Maybe because Zoe is here? But this is more flustering than Zoe usually makes him feel. I don't even know why you're here. I saw my brother be a dick to you. Zoe! What? It's true! The brunette teen shouted. Connor was an asshole to everyone. I doubt he and Evan were really friends. We were friends, Evan explained involuntarily. We hung out all the time, seriously. We would go to the park together. Connor, raising an eyebrow, listened intently as Evan described a scenario where they would go to the old abandoned orchard and climb trees. In this scenario, particularly, Evan broke his arm and he rescued him. Connor rescued him and everything was okay. Why did you say that? All the stuff that never happened. Connor rubbed the bridge of his nose and what? Evan watched as Connor approached him slowly. He grabbed his cast and got real close to Evan's face. Dusty brunette boy felt blood rush to his face as Connor looked at him down the eye. Why did you say all of that, Evan? I was just saying what I wish he did before you died. Chapter 4. I'm sorry, that sounds gay. Which I'm not, despite what I did. I like it. Evan mumbled, trying to explain his words to Connor in his own self. Evan, I'm really confused, Connor. I don't even know why I wish I could just talk to you like a normal person. Evan felt his heart beating faster, his breath getting incredibly shallow. Evan Hansen. Connor sternly says, you don't have to apologize. I actually want to tell you something, but I'm dead, so it may be too late. But the sound of Evan's door creaking open, revealing his tired mother. Her hair was disheveled, and she looked like she hadn't slept in days. Evan avoids eye contact to make sure the tears pricking the corner of his eyes would go unnoticed. She walks in and hugs him, telling him about her day and what they'll be eating for dinner. The living boy starts spacing out, looking at Connor, who's giving his mother all his attention. Evan, his mother says, losing all emotion in her voice, you were gone from school today and yesterday. How do you? I'm sorry, Mom. I just missed the bus, and you were already at work. My sleep is I slept in. He stammers, collecting all his confidence. How'd you know? A nice blowing red hoodie is at the door. You should see him. Evan racked his whole brain for anyone who he knew who wore red, not realizing that it was Michael Mel until he bumped into the hoodie itself. Sorry, I bumped into no sweat, dude. I didn't see you at school at all, and I was worried. Is this about... Yeah. The silence hung heavy, the weight of Connor's death on their shoulders. Evan just gripped his cast in size, coming to realize that not everyone else could see Connor's ghost. Michael scratches the back of his neck and begins to let his neck come out in sloppy fragments. I said, man, come sit with me and my buddy tomorrow. It isn't much. When I saw you walk out of the office, it looked like he would thrown up. Connor Murphy must have been important to you. He is, Evan says quietly. He didn't notice that there was tears coming out of his eyes until he felt the warmth of them on his cold cheek. Having no self-control, Evan buries his face in Michael's hoodie and sobs quietly. The boy in said hoodie just sighed and held Evan close and comforted him. Connor, with his arms tightly around Evan, breaks down too. Next day at school, Evan opens his locker, already wanting to go home and crying in the comfort of his own bed. Connor, watching as Evan's entire persona shifted, his posture became worse, his voice was significantly quieter. Evan stares at the ghost in confusion, as it seems he has a look of realization. Evan was going to ask, but his locker slamming stole his attention. His parents think you're lovers. Do you realize that? What? Evan asked as his face becoming cherry red. Jared grabs his shoulders, starts laughing without looking away. That fantasy about the orchard you told his family? Why would they? Jared cuts him off with a full-on belly laugh, trying to compose himself. You were best friends, but he wouldn't let you talk to him at school? When he did, he kicked your ass? Jared laughs at his own words. That's like the perfect formula for secret gay high school lovers. Oh my god. Evan runs a hand through his hair, stressed out. I told you, man. Just nod and confirm. Jared acts out firmly with his hands of what should have been done. Evan shrinks back, submitting into realization that he messed up. I tried, but I just started talking and I couldn't stop, and they listened, and so you couldn't stop. I didn't want to stop. Evan closed his mouth tightly and Jared just sighs. Evan panics and mumbles out, we can fix this. How? Evan puts his arm on Ev's shoulder with a smile. I told them that we wrote emails. Evan closes his eyes and smiles at the thought of him and Connor sending out emails to each other about how their days went, how college is, how their lives together were, like buddies do. Emails. Jared raised an eyebrow inquisitively. Yeah, I said that Connor had an secret email account, and oh yeah, when those secret email accounts where you send a picture of your penises to each other. So we write emails to each other, and oh my god, the want to see me emails. Evan slams his head against the locker, panicking immensely. I can do emails. Evan, don't worry about it. Jared says, accompanied by a cocky smirk. It'll just cost $2,000. $2,000 for emails? Evan puts on his hair out of stress for a unreasonable quest. $500? I can give you $20. Fine, but you're a dick, Jared explains, before shaking Evan's hand and walking to his cooler friends. Ev is left to walk to his first period with only a ghost at his side. Settling to his first period long before the bell, Evan looks to Connor, who is sitting on his desk with an unreadable expression. Evan reaches to touch his knee for attention, but the ephemeral nature of the ghost allowed for Evan's hand to pass right through him. So your plan is to lie to my parents that we were best friends with emails? Connor inquired. I know it sounds dumb, Connor, but I can't leave your family without consolation and at least closure. Evan holds his head in his hands. The only thing that they have left of you is a suicide note that is addressed to me and not even yours. Connor shrugs and Evan thought, if you see it as a good deal, then who fucking cares? He looks to Connor with a dreamy expression and nods at his blank statement. Good luck on the emails then, Evan. I'll be there for you, though. Connor shoves his hands in his pocket and blows his hair from his face. I don't mind you coming up with all of this because it makes me feel like we have friends. Playing in trees, driving around, having fun together. Like friends do. Chapter 5. Dear Evan Hansen. Evan watches Jared start the emails like he does his own letters. God, those dumb letters. Connor rests his cold dead hands upon Evan's head and watched with bewilderment swimming in his eyes. Evan looked up at the words that appeared on the computer, reading each in Connor's voice. I shouldn't tell you that I think of you each night. What? My nipples. What? And start moaning in delight. What? Jared, why would you write that? Evan slammed his hand on the backspace key until those words and the mental image left his mind. Jared, however, proceeded to laugh his ass off. Oh, come on. I'm just trying to tell the truth. Jared defends himself with a joking tone, Evan having none of it. The anxious boy even looks for Connor to help, but he looks away the moment the two lock eyes. This needs to prove we were actually friends, which you weren't. It's not even realistic, Evan says with a blush dusting his cheeks. There's nothing unrealistic about the love one man feels for another, Jared says with a serious tone, but his words feel dishonest and still full of careless humor. Just let me write it. Evan pouts and grabs a laptop. The email-related hijinks continues on for the better half of an hour. A few emails fully completed and set aside for Connor's parents to read. That night, something seemed wrong. What, though, was the question? Evan sat on his bed. Connor's ghostly body lay, if he could, against Evan's crossed legs. Hetty cautiously opened the door, seeing Evan lying on top of his bed lost in thought. She smiled and walked over to him, giving him a hug. Evan seemed a little uncomfortable and let it happen, causing Connor to attentively watch their interaction. Thank you for going to school today, and I'm sorry I couldn't pick you up. I was working on a friendship again, Hetty explained, herself with a readable sadness in her eyes. It's fine, Mom. I walked home, Evan responded, hugging her back with a seemingly motionless expression. Well, okay. Hetty smiles, drops as her phone buzzes in her pocket. She looks at the text and audibly sighs. I gotta go back to work. I'll see you in a bit. Oh, I'll leave money on the table for dinner. I love you, sweetie. And like that, she left, leaving a boy and his ghost alone. The next day at school, Evan avoided Zoe and Jared. Hell, even Elena. Something in his stomach just didn't feel right talking to anyone. He just went from class to class with his head down low. Connor was silent the whole time. They was going as solitary as he wanted to until he bumped into Red. Oh, Evan. Always bumping into me, huh? Evan said with enthusiasm, putting his headphones around his neck. Hi, Michael. Evan's response was full of anxiety. He forgot another person he talks to. This time, however, his stomach didn't feel any discomfort. Why weren't you at lunch yesterday? Did you not want to sit with me and my buddy? Shit. Oh, yeah, that. Tell him that you have anxiety, Evan, that new people scare you. Connor butts in, wrapping his arms around Evan's shoulders from behind. It's the truth. I have severe social anxiety. I don't like new people. I mean, I do like new people. I like talking to you, and I definitely like your friend in a friend way. It's hard for me to talk to new people. Evan stumbles over his words and is tongue-tied over every word. No, buddy, I understand, and you don't have to join us, but I know this Connor thing is hard for you, especially when douche nuts like Jared are trying to profit off of his death. Evan winces hearing the word death. The friendship Evan has with Connor's spirits, it could never be real. Hey, Evan, hang out with me this weekend. We can go to a park or something and just talk if you need a friend. Oh, okay. Evan smiles and walks away from a hoodie-wearing boy with new plans for this weekend. That night, Evan found himself at the door of Murphy's home with emails fabricating the relationships between him and their dead son. Evan gently knocks on the door, getting no response but wanting to knock again. What am I doing here? Evan says to himself. I don't know, trying to give some comfort to my parents. You can just go home. You don't have to do this, Evan. Connor says with obvious disdain in his voice, but Evan also heard an underlying sadness. I have to do this. Your suicide note was addressed to me. I have to do this. Why didn't you write your own? Evan looks to the floor, hearing shuffling inside. Connor opened his mouth as if he was about to respond, but instead looked away with unreadable emotions in his eyes. Evan, son, come in. Dinner will be starting soon. Connor's father answers the door with an overbearing smile and pulls Evan aside. Connor watched and flinched, soon disappearing from Evan's sight. "Oh, thank you, sir. I was excited." Evan forces a smile and sits awkwardly at the dinner table. Cynthia's laugh from the kitchen caused Evan's palm to sweat as he was overcome with anxiety. Shit, what did I do wrong? Was I not supposed to sit? God, they hate me now. I'm such a fool. "Oh, honey, you don't have to sit yet. Our home is your home. You can make yourself comfortable." Yes, ma'am." Evan responds before going into the kitchen and standing awkwardly behind Cynthia, not knowing what else to do. Do you need any help?" "Oh, Evan, you're so sweet, but no, I've got dinner handled." Okay. Okay, Evan says, but doesn't move and just stays quiet. "Hey, Evan, you knew Connor well, didn't you?" Cynthia asked, turning off the oven. "Yes." So he must have told you about all the fights we had?" She turns to Evan, who nods. She sighs and continues. "I always think about those fights, and the times he would slam the door after dinner. He was just fighting his demons." Evan watched the mother shaking her shoulders as she went on talking about her lost son. Evan gave her his full attention, seeing how much this meant to her. This was also a great opportunity to see the Connor that Evan had missed. He stole the pills from his medicine cabinet, and we found him passed out in the park, but there were moments where there was this little bit of light, when he was happy and still trying to fight. She wipes her tears. Okay. She wipes her tears and flashes Evan a smile. "I don't remember last time I saw him laugh. We used to laugh all the time," Evan says, thinking of Connor's ghost and the talks before he goes to sleep. That same ghost watches mother reminisce with tears in the corner of his eyes. "You did? He used to love jokes when he was a little boy. Like, why did the chicken cross the road?" He and a million answers to that one. One day he said to me, "Why did the duck cross the road?" "To prove that he wasn't a chicken." She laughs, with tears rolling down her cheeks. "That's funny." Evan laughs with her. He had his moments with a little bit of light. I wish I paid more attention to him when he changed. Maybe. I'm sorry, Evan. You should go look around and get comfortable." The boy walked with his ghost through the house, Connor's spirit leading him to one of the bedrooms down the hall. Evan walks into the room and notices band posters, Spider-Man comic books, and a closet full of various hoodies. Connor's room. He felt his muscles relax, and he sits on the bed. Despite the room smelling like Connor, something Evan quickly loved, the atmosphere was sad. Evan hesitates but lays down on the bed. He plays in his mind the fantasies and dreams he wished were true. Being in the room, something he kept denying set in. Connor was dead. The ghost he came to befriend was the soul of someone who was gone. He felt tears in the corner of his eyes, but made sure not to let them fall. "Evan?" A harsh but sweet voice cut in. Evan shot up and wiped the tears as the lights were turned on. "Why are you in my brother's... Wait, are you crying?" "What? Crying? I'm not crying. I'm just dry eyes. You know, your brother's room is quite dusty." Evan panicked. He proceeded to ramble on every single thing that caused tears as he could until Zoe cut him off. "It's fine. Dry your sweaty eyes. It's dinner time," she says as she leaves. Evan sighs. Great. During dinner, Evan got to see the Murphy family in action. They all seem so eccentric. When it was all over, that was when the anxiety was at its highest. They were all waiting for the emails he had promised. I have the emails," he stutters out. Each member of the family perked up and looked at Evan with excitement. Evan pulls the emails out of his bag, but he couldn't bring himself to hand them over. They were all lies, but They realized Evan wished they were true. Connor helped with some, so it's not too bad. Without having time to even contemplate whether or not to give them emails tomorrow, Cynthia had already had the papers in her hands and was reading over everything. You two seem so close. Oh shit. You two seem so close, Larry said with a somber tone. Zoe had her head down. Cynthia still shuffling through the papers. She put them down with a smile and put her hand on Evan's. You were his little bit of light. Evan felt a pair of arms around his shoulders and saw Connor's face out of the corner of his eyes, wet with tears. Evan finally broke out and let everything he was keeping in out. He missed Connor. He missed his dead friend. Chapter 7. Later the same night, Connor and Evan lay together in bed, talking. Evan loved talking to him, getting to know his friend better. He learned so much about Connor, his interest in Marvel, his favorite bands, typical things. But he needed to know something itching at him deep inside. Connor, do you regret killing yourself? Evan asked hesitantly. Connor sits up and looks at Evan, who does the same. Yes, no, it's complicated. Connor leans his head against the wall. Now that I'm dead, I'm better, if that makes any sense. I'm not depressed or anxious anymore, and I don't get unreasonably angry and want to be angry at my family. They aren't a perfect family, but they didn't deserve what I put them through, especially Zoe and Mom. I was awful, Evan. What? No, Connor, you were sick is all. You needed help and couldn't get any. That's okay now. You'll at least have a friend who you can tell these things to. Evan explains, trying to hold Connor's hand before immediately putting him back and apologizing. Connor laughs. I wish I had you when I was alive, Evan. I had no one to talk to. Hell, no one even knew I was gay when I was alive, because who could I tell? I could probably tell your buddy Michael. God, there were so many people I could have met who would have helped me. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel. Wish I could do it all again. Evan argues with himself on how to react, but without thinking too hard, leans his head on Connor, as best as he could lean on a ghost. It's okay, Connor. I know how you feel. Please, don't do what I did, Evan. Please. Connor says, looking Evan in the eyes, who blushes and nods. The weekend rolled around, and it's time for Evan to hang out with Michael. Dresses in a blue sweater and looks to Connor for fashion approval. Looking good, Evan? And Connor says with a playful wink, to which Evan blushes and looks away, stifling a giggle like a schoolgirl. I want to have fun with Michael, okay? I want you to have fun with Michael, okay? I will, Connor, don't worry, he replies, and goes to leave his house in a red PT Cruiser in the driveway and a dorky boy waving from the inside. When he gets in the car and sees Michael put down his phone, Evan notices Michael kissing the cheek of a boy with brown curly hair and smiles. Mike begins to drive to an unknown destination, leaving the two to talk. Where are we going? Evan asked. Oh, the park. I thought it would be nice. Michael replies and occasionally looks to the boy in the passenger seat as he drove. So, how are you holding up? He doesn't answer, but Michael doesn't pry. They make it to the park and stroll through together. So, Michael, who's the boy you're kissing on your lock screen? Evan says cheekily. Michael's cheeks flush red as his signature hoodie, but he stands tall. My player too, my Jeremy, and the one I wanted you to meet. We both have anxiety, so I understand. Michael says with pride. Evan laughs but looks down. Can I answer your question about how I was holding up, that is? Anxious boy asks. Yeah, of course, dude. I'm confused, Michael. Evan confesses. Michael tilts his head and gestures him to continue. I have a friend. I'm not bisexual, I think. But I think I love... I don't know. You're a confused boy, huh? Michael says with a smile. Well, explain how do you feel to me. We talk all the time, and he makes me laugh, and he makes me feel special. And I want to hug him all the time. I always want to hug him. I think I want to kiss him. I fantasize on what our future could be if I could marry him. I thought I liked his sister, but I love him. God, I think I answered my own question. Evan rambles, and his face flushes red. You're head over heels, dude. Who's lucky guy? Michael asks with a smile, seeing Evan look down in a way as he realizes, Oh, Evan, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you lost so much so fast. Laying in bed, looking at the ceiling, Evan had a lot to contemplate. The ghost asleep beside him. Evan wanted him to know, but at least he could confess his feelings to himself. That was half the battle. Chapter 8. A pair of anxious lips pressed against each other was alarming, but truly it was a moment of bliss and love. Evan opened his eyes to see Connor's face. His face flushed a deep red, and he smiled to the kiss, letting it happen. The sound of his phone buzzing woke Evan from his dream, the ghost still sleeping beside him. Evan muttered a swear at the lackluster reality he was facing. Grabbing his phone, he saw the name of a person calling him, which sent him to a panic. He answered, Yes, Zoe? His quiet voice wavered. Hello, Evan. Why are you so quiet? Zoe responds. She sounds suspicious of him, as she always did. Sorry, I was trying to not wake. It's unimportant. What do you need? Evan began sweating, keeping his eyes on sleeping Connor. My parents want you to come over tonight with more emails. Could you? Will your mom allow it? Zoe said, seeming indifferent from Evan's refusal to tell her why he was speaking in such a hushed tone. Yeah, I can, Evan answered, his eyes half-lidded, staring longingly at Connor's face. Zoe went on talking about tonight, and Evan nodded along, not paying attention. Connor just looked so cute with his hair laying across his face. He had hung up on Zoe while he continued to lean towards Connor. His breathing became faster as well as his heartbeat. Connor's face twitching brought Ev's attention that he was uncomfortably close. Oh God, he was so close he couldn't explain away how he was that close to his perfect lips. The boy leaned back and covered his mouth and made his own thoughts. Connor woke up to see Evan looking like he was about to have a panic attack. Looking panicked, he lurched up and grabbed Evan's hand and watched as Evan became more red. Evan, what happened? Are you okay? Connor asked, acting cautiously. I'm great. So your parents, they asked me to come over tonight with more emails, Evan answered, his voice cracking several times. So, email time? Connor asked with a sigh. Evan picks up his laptop, hovering over Gerald's profile, ready to call him. Yeah. Evan shuffles with the piece of paper as he enters the house, carefully stepping around as to not do something stupid, probably looking stupid in the process. Evan gave the Murphys the emails that consisted of fabricated non-romantic fantasies from his mind. Excusing himself, Evan left with Connor to his room. You really cleaned this place out, huh? Connor says quietly. Evan nods, looking around before taking a seat on the foot of Connor's bed. I don't think they want reminders, he responds with a somber tone. Of what? The demon that left them? No, they don't want reminders of the angel that they lost. Evan looks at Connor with a sincere expression before looking away, blushing. Sorry. Sorry for what? Zoe's voice cuts in. Evan jumps at the sudden presence and laughs nervously. Nothing, Zoe, don't worry about it. Zoe cocks her eyebrows and sighs. You're weird. I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize for everything. I'm sorry. Sorry. And begins to slouch and shy away from a girl who just giggles, sitting beside the boy in the bed. The silence is thick, broken by a nervous voice. Why did he say that? Zoe asked with hesitation. Evan looked at her and furrowed his brows. And his suicide note? His suicide note? 'Cause there's Zoe, and all my hope is pinned on Zoe, who I don't even know, who doesn't know me. Why would he write that? What does that mean? Zoe looked down, contemplating the words, while Evan's blood suddenly ran cold. Oh, he was... Evan looked at Connor and takes a deep breath. He wanted to get closer to you because he thought you were awesome, even though he didn't know you that well. He thought I was awesome? My brother? Definitely. How? Evan racked his brain for reasons, but all he could think of were memories of Zoe. He knows how Connor was, and always there and being his wonderful self, so he said them all. What he saw, but although her brother was his focus. Like when Zoe would dance, but Connor was always in the background reading or on his phone. Did he say anything else? Zoe interjects. About you? Evan says, still in his thoughts. Zoe tries wavering off her words, but he continues. He said so much about you. I'm just trying to remember best ones. Evan continues to reminisce, staring at the ghostly figure of a boy whom he loved so much. He stared at Connor, watchful gaze, smile creeping onto his lip. How do you say I love you? Evan finishes. But we're a million worlds apart, and I don't even know how I would even start. If I could tell him. Evan mumbles under his breath. He looks to Zoe with silence hanging in the air. Panics, thinking she just heard him confess her love to her dead brother. But while he was in his thoughts, Zoe began to lean in for a kiss. Noticing her closeness, Evan entered a flight. Whoa, he blurted out, falling off the bed as he attempted to get away. Zoe was left stunned, but as Evan ducked the kiss, Evan panics to think of an excuse. I like guys. Evan mentally slaps himself, although he wasn't entirely wrong. It was just suddenly awkward. Cynthia appeared in the doorway as a response to the loud sound of Evan hitting the ground. Is everything okay in here? She asked, concerned. Evan lets out a shaky nod. Well, it's dinner time, kids, she finished. Zoe hastily leaving the room with her mother. You didn't kiss her? Connor inquired very curiously. I don't like her. I know it was in my letter, your suicide note, but I guess I don't anymore. Chapter 9. Seeing the Murphys became routine, but each time Evan felt like the emails and stories he told were real, and the talks between Evan and Connor before bed got longer and more heartfelt. Over time, he, Elena, and Jared established the Connor Project. Jared pushed the idea since he was told the memory of Connor would fade away. Although he didn't know the truth of why Evan was so shaken by that statement, he accepted and Evan agreed. Days became more monotonous. More emails and stories were posted constantly. Evan was growing tired and wanted to distance himself from the project completely. However, it was about Connor, so he can never give up on keeping the ghost around. Hey, Ev. Yeah, Con? Evan responds, rubbing the tiredness from his eyes as he typed away another email. You should really come over and lay by me, Connor says with a slight tone. Evan glanced over and blushed, looking back to the screen. Lena really wants me to complete these emails for today's. Evan, please turn it off and hang out with the real Connor. The ghost persisted. Evan looks to him and smiles. He never confessed to Connor, but they've gotten really close. Even he could never confess he was fine being his friend. Evan crawled towards Connor's ghostly form and laid back on his pillow. His stiff cracking in process. Connor winced at the sound, looking at his living room with a slight smile. Get away from the little project Jared and Elena have set up and go do something fun for today, okay? It's still early, Connor suggests. Evan shrugs. What is there even to do? What about that hoodie kid, Michael? Have you met his boyfriend yet? Connor asks, propping himself up on his elbows like a gossiping girl. Evan shakes his head. Text him. You need to hang out with more people than just me. Why? Lauren goes silent. Evan doesn't retract his words. He just looks down his hands anxiously as he rubs the creases in his palm. Connor looks at him with a shocked expression. Evan sighs and looks to him. Oh, the sound of a message on his phone catches his attention. Then furrows his eyebrows and grabs it. Connor sighs. Evan, put down the screen. It's from Michael. Evan interjects his bot, beginning to shake, tears forming his eyes. Connor sits up and looks at the screen. Hey, buddy, I saw Connor's suicide note on the TCP site. I'm so sorry, the message read. Evan frantically scrolled faster until he saw who posted the note. Elena posted my suicide note. What? How did she get it? Connor tenses a little panic. Evan shrugs, knowing that the Murphys were only one to have it. Evan's breathing becomes uneven and shallow. Connor notices this pulls Evan into his ethereal grasp for comforting embrace. We'll figure this out, Connor mutters. I can't believe someone gave her my note. Your note? Evan mumbled, pulling away from Connor. Your note? Connor, that was my note. My note that I wrote to my therapist because I was lying to people at school saying that I broke my arm from falling, not jumping off a tree, trying to kill myself. It was my note for my sake. You didn't write the note. You just left all of us upset without saying goodbye. I never got a chance to tell you goodbye. And quietly broke down as Connor stepped away, looking asking. Evan knew that he just pushed Connor away. I did write a note. Evan looked up to see Connor looking to his feet, his hands kept deeply in his black hoodie pockets. Evan wiped his eyes and gestured for Connor to continue. I left it hidden in my room in the space under my dress drawer. Go find it. Go find it if that's what you want. Connor turned away. Hurry, please. Evan quickly took up and ran out the door, his mother not home to question where he was going. Running down the road to the expensive house that belonged to the Murphys, his mind raised question. Why did Connor hide his suicide note? Why is Connor not coming with him? How did no one find it? Why didn't Connor tell him before? Evan stopped at the door, out of breath in a rush. The door opened as Cynthia greeted Evan at the door. Oh, hey, sweetie, did Zoe invite you over? Cynthia asked with a smile. No, I think I left something in Connor's room last time I was here, and I would like to go get it. Evan bullshits an excuse, but Cynthia nods and lets him in. Not being suspicious, as he walked up the stairs and ran down the hall to Connor's vacant room, he glanced around, finding a large dresser, pulling out every drawer frantically until he found a folded piece of dusty paper. Shaking out the dirt that had accumulated and blowing away the rest, Connor's shakiest handwriting was revealed to him. Several words were scribbled down or erased sloppily as if the pills Connor taken were shaving off the little time he had left. Dear everyone, I'm sorry. All I can say is I'm sorry. I'm sick. I know I'm sick and I hurt you all. For hurting everyone. I'm sorry for hurting everyone. I'm sorry for fighting. I'm so sorry for everything. I wanted to get better, but the way I was treating all of you on a daily basis, I can't handle what I've done. I'm sorry, Mom and Zoe, for screaming at you all the time, and to Dad for pretending he wasn't even there. And I'm sorry, Evan, for hurting you. I didn't mean to lash out. Evan, I know this is too late to say, but I love you. Sincerely, me. Evan finished writing, tears unknowingly cascading down his cheeks. Silent cries echoed throughout the empty room. Evan's pleading screams rang out. I love you. He felt that no matter how it hurt, he wasn't loud enough. Love you, Connor. I'm so sorry. I was such a coward. I wish I could. I wish I could do it all over again. Wish we could have the happy ending we deserve. Stopped as approached the door, so he whispered, "I wish I could get the ending you deserve." Evan was in bed. He leaned up and held his aching head in his hand. A nightmare? He muttered. Connor? Evan looked around, unable to see the ghost anywhere. Panicked and grabbed his phone, seeing text between him and Carter dating from an hour ago. It was the night Connor killed himself. Chapter 11. It was the night Connor killed himself, and maybe Evan could stop it. Without hesitation, and honestly without thinking, Evan ran out of his movement at the door. His mother, who had just returned from work, looked at him concerned and called for him, but he just kept running. Connor could be alive. We could have a happy life, Evan thought to himself. The grim thoughts pushed through, if he hasn't already killed himself. Despite the darkness, Evan knew his way to Murphy's house by memory. Using less of his stamina, he reached the door and banged on it desperately. Cynthia answered and looked in almost horror and confusion. She didn't know who Evan was yet. Please, Evan begged, trying to push past her. Larry and Zoe came to view, both of them concerned. Evan Hansen? Zoe inquired suspiciously. Her dad shoots her a look and says something about the lines of, "You know this kid? I have to get in. I have to get to Connor." Evan was panicked, out of breath, almost forcing his way inside. He was desperate to save Connor before it was too late. "Connor's at the park. Who are you?" Cynthia's words stopped Evan in his tracks. He holds his head and yells, "I don't have time for this. It's not important who I am. Call the police, call the ambulance, and tell them to go to a park." Wait for them to respond. Only starts making his way hastily to a park that he worked in anger. He's already took the road. He already took the pills. God, I'm running out of time. Evan's eyes start filling with tears as he looks to the casted arm. Connor's name was fresh black written that afternoon, not faded like it had become. He had to keep pushing his body to its limit, or else this would be all in vain. Evan turned to the park entrance, climbing sloppily over to the gate to get to him. It was getting darker. Evan resorted to calling out Connor's name once he noticed the boy was nowhere to be found. Connor, please answer me. I can help you. We can get you help." Evan stopped hollering and began to cry. "I can't lose you this time." Hearing shuffling leaves, Evan saw the hooded brunette settling beside the tree in the distance. Feeling some hope, this was his burst of energy at the side. "Evan?" Connor asked, his breathing shallow. "Connor, you're alive!" And began to cry tears of joy. Connor looked at him with a look of confusion. "I don't get it. Why are you here?" Connor's voice becoming raspy and eyes slowly closing. "Hey, stay with me. I'm here to save you." Evan's face turns from excitement to pure anxiety as he realized Connor was losing consciousness. "Save me? Why?" Connor laughed, taking the statements if they were cold truths. "Because I love you," Evan said, smiling with tears in his eyes. Connor furrowed his eyebrows and his eyes becoming more shut. "Repeat that, Ev," he says in a whisper. "I love you, Connor." Those words were the last Connor had heard before passing out with a soft smile on his face. Faded sirens blaring in the background. The bright light hit Connor's eyes, causing him to groan. The blinking of machines around him left him disoriented. Connor was alive in the hospital. Evan's tired eyes went from his phone to Connor, doing double takes before a large grin took over. With a gasp, Connor's body was engulfed in a tight hug and a sudden kiss. The hospitalized boy sat confused but kissed back happily. "I'm sorry, I just couldn't help myself." Evan was caught off another meter hug from Connor. "It's alright, Ev." Connor used his time to take in Evan's features. His eyes were sunken and exhausted, and his face was red as if he has always been crying. Connor's eyes welled with tears as he realized Evan did this all for him. "I love you, Evan. Thank you for saving me," Connor says with a smile, to which Evan replies with another kiss. Once Connor was out of the hospital, Evan kept the ghost and the fact that he had gotten a do-over to himself, taking it as a hidden blessing. He rebuilt everything that happened in the time. He met Michael again, and Jeremy finally talked, taking the time to hang out with them instead of avoidance. Jerry's relationship and Evan didn't change much. All the Begay's jokes were hilarious and common from the family friend. Evan and Connor were able to let their relationship bloom in this reality, and tonight was going to be great. So what's your plans tonight? Michael asked, pulling up to Evan, who was dressed for a formal occasion. Evan smiled and got to the back seat of Michael's car, Jeremy in the passenger. Connor and I are moving in soon, so we're having dinner with his family tonight. Don't I look nice for the occasion? Evan blushed at the thought of him and Connor being together. Oh, dude, I'm happy for you. That'll be so fun. Jeremy turned around in his seat to congratulate him. So that's where we're headed? Michael asked, and Evan nodded as they proceeded to drive down the road, having casual conversation until they dropped him off at the end. See you later, bro. Evan waved as he walked up nervously to the path. He hasn't officially had dinner with a family yet, although Cynthia has invited him over numerous times as a thank you for convincing Connor. Oh my God, where am I? As a thank you for convincing Connor to go to rehab and therapy. Knocking on the door, Zoe answered with a hug. Connor's changed ways, and Evan being around all the time. And this time, Zoe's more like a sister to Evan now. So, ready for dinner? Zoe inquired with a smirk. Evan looked at her nervously and smiled. Sure, he answered after his over question. She was planning something. The family all sat down together, looking at Evan expectantly, who just smiled anxiously. Connor was quiet with a nervous expression. He looked like he was in deep thought. Evan couldn't deny that his boyfriend looked hella good in tuxedo though. Oh, great. Now Evan feels a little underdressed. They all ate. Evan's movements were hesitant, and Connor still focused on something else. Made Evan nervous for the worst. Connor rested a hand on the table, looking at peace as he smiled to Evan. He stood up and held Evan's hand. Can we go to the backyard, please? Connor asked, almost in a shy way. Evan nodded, feeling at ease, joining Connor as they walked through the back door of the house. It was astounding. Golden lights and lanterns littered the walls and fences, the stones of the patio covered in rose petals. Evan giggled and turned to Connor. What is all of this? Connor's words were cut off as Connor held out a black box to Evan. He smiled nervously. Then oh shit. Connor corrects himself by kneeling to him. He laughs off his nervousness and tears already in Evan's eyes. Evan, I know we're fresh out of high school, young and dumb among everything, but you saved me, and I realize I want you to be with me for forever. Will you let me be your husband, or will you marry me? Yes, Connor, of course. Evan wiped his tears, and Connor hugged him tightly, stupid grin on both of their faces. I love you, Evan. I love you too, Connor. Evan nuzzled into Connor's neck with a relaxed expression. Thank you for saving me. So, yeah, that was the end. I hope you enjoyed the story. I don't usually enjoy stories that end with a proposal or marriage, but I like that one because it had the twist, it had the gayness, I like that it added me more chill. I just really love that story in general. So, if you like these type of stories, like more of a musical genre, then of course suggest any to me. All that I do request is that they're not over 30 chapters, because that will take so long. And Flowers from 1970 is 3 hours long, the video, and it was like only 26 or 27 chapters, so I say the limit's 30, unless it's like something that's like really important for some reason, then I will go overboard. I guess that's not really the word I'd use, but I will do more than 30 minutes for something that's really important. Of course, anytime if you would like me to read actual written books and not just wattpad stories, then I will do that. I am here to help you guys, and I put out some videos with stories of my choice to show that I like these fandoms and that I will also read these type of stories. Sorry that I've had a shaky voice and my voice has been raspy and I've been like sniffling this entire chapter. Again, a lot has been going on. I'm kind of sick. I'm dehydrated. Sorry for all of that, but I do thank you for watching, and I'm very very thankful for what this channel has become, because I don't even know if words can describe how grateful I am. I have 500 something subscribers, and I never thought I would even see that number under a YouTube channel of mine. Like, I was delighted after I started getting a little bit of traction, and I'm so glad I've been able to help people who do have dyslexia, or is that how you pronounce it? I'm really dumb. Dyslexia or ADHD or any other thing that just just stops them from reading, I guess. But I'm glad I can help you guys, and of course, if there is a story you would love me, if you would really want me to read, then I will read it. Again, I have to say the chapters have to be maybe 30. And for the people who suggested Tommy's unbeatable method of avoiding sudden death and rooftops, I am going to be working on those, hopefully, maybe soon. For the Carl Knapp stories, that's probably going to be more of the future type of thing. If you would want me to do Flowers in 1970, like a remake of that, then I will go ahead and do that. And just let me know what you want, guys. I'm here to help you. Okay, so have a good day or night. I hope this helped you or made you happy or maybe smile. I don't know. Love you all, my little listeners.